fun today. Here we go. Good morning. It's just after 9 o'clock. It is a beautiful day outside. I'm excited because we got Grant in studio. Grant, how are you doing today?
Doing amazing, man. How are you?
Hey, thank you for coming in. So I saw an article, reached out to you.
Right.
And you're jumping on, ready to go.
Ready to go.
Are you always ready?
Always ready, man. Always ready. Got to stay ready.
Okay. So introduce yourself, share the company that you have, and then what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thanks for having me on. My name's Grant Mitterlehner. Originally from Houston, Texas. I have a company named Mitt Group, and we're a residential and commercial solar company, headquartered out of Houston. We're actually all in right now every major city in the state of Texas right now. We're really focusing on growing a bunch, but we essentially just do solar installs for people all over Texas, and help people save money on their utility bills. And I guess everyone around here experienced the crazy storm that just happened. And I actually got stuck in Austin, but sideways snow and cold weather and everything like that. So it's pretty cool. We had a lot of people that we've done business with and helped, and they had power the entire time.
That's what I was going to say, because I had some neighbors in a Facebook neighborhood group say that they were actually sending power back. They had their batteries charged at their house, sending power back to the grid. I don't understand how it all works, but all I know is they had power.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's super cool. So there's two ways to kind of do it as far as solar goes. So if you have a battery, all that power that you're overproducing through the day, it goes in the battery. Next thing you know, anytime you need it, if we have a crazy blizzard in Houston, which probably won't happen for another 20, 30 years, hopefully, but it'd power the entire home. You'd have power just like you normally would. Even if you didn't have a battery, what's cool is a beautiful day like today, you overproduce a heck of a lot more power than you need. So it actually goes back onto the grid, and they actually buy it back from you. So I have buddies and friends and people that we've helped that they've gone solar, and they literally look at their utility bill and see negative $50, negative $20. And so it's crazy to even think about because how much utility bills are here, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw someone say that they were producing enough energy to power 6 houses on the street.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they said. And they powered, their batteries are charged, sending it back to the grid.
Yeah.
And they're really helping because everybody in Galveston County, I think it was 95% of people were without power.
Oh, yeah. It was
crazy.
It's something. It felt like, in a way, we've all been through hurricanes down here. And, hurricanes, you end up evacuating or you come back, and, the first, week or so is just everything shut down and everything's, it's hard to get stuff. It felt like that, but just super cold, and it was the craziest thing. 70-80% of our employees all had no power, had nothing, was just stuck. It was just crazy.
How about the affordableness of this? It's an investment.
Absolutely.
You're paying something up front and then you save money. How does that work?
Yeah, so before I got into solar, when I was out in California, I saw it everywhere, and I was like, man, this has to be, those Hollywood people that are just super rich and want to help the environment. And that's what I assumed it would be. But it was interesting. Now it's become so affordable. And, middle-class America, there's not a person that owns a home that's going to stay in it more than 5 years that shouldn't be getting solar, because it makes legitimate sense. And what's cool is the government's paying for 26% of it. So people are getting $7 to 10 grand back for going solar. There's no money up front, and the payment for solar is actually less than what you're paying for the utility bill. So what's cool is literally the savings you're getting from your utility bill is paying for the entire investment. It's not affecting your budget. And then what happens is people pay the system off in 5 to 6 years, and they're done. Forever. People can pay off their homes, they can pay off their cars, but they can't pay off their power. And they're always going to pay for the utility bill because it's hot as heck in Texas, and you need your lights, you need your AC. So what's cool is it gives people an opportunity to pay everything off and own their power, and get paid for it a little bit too.
What does it do to the resale value of a home? Let's say someone's at a house for 10 years and then they're outfitted for solar. Is that something that they have to leave there? Could they take a portion with them?
Yeah, so you own it. So you could absolutely take it to the next house. I usually recommend, so I've seen this firsthand just with people we've helped and then just all over the country. It typically adds anywhere from about $15,000 to $25,000 of equity. It depends neighborhood to neighborhood, but it adds a considerable amount of equity to your home. And what's cool in Texas, so different states aren't like this, but it actually not only does it increase your home's value, but because it's an attachment and something that you can actually move, it doesn't increase your property taxes on the way up. So if your home's worth $300,000, now it's worth $330,000, you're still going to pay property taxes on your $300,000 home value, and you can absolutely resell it. Because, and often what we say is that it ends up helping people sell the home faster because you're walking in and they have no bill, you know, so it works out pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of work backwards. I saw that y'all were named one of the best places to work.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so what does that mean to you? Where y'all have an office in Houston, you have other offices, and I guess how many people do you have working for you?
Yeah, so we have about, I think, 25 people right now, primarily most sales, and then we have some back-end operations, finance, my admin, stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, so we're in Houston, Austin, and Dallas right now. We're growing fast, and as far as like the best places to work, that was done by the Houston Business Journal, so shout out to those guys. So that was a really big honor. What's cool about that is it's not something that I can't like make a phone call or know someone inside to get that one.
Yeah.
What's cool about that is it's, you know, we got nominated. Someone nominated us, which is cool. And they actually send a direct survey to every single one of my employees. And I don't get to fill it out. I wish I could have. Maybe it'll give us a better rating. No, but in all seriousness, so they send it out to all of our employees. And what's cool is, I mean, you're at the mercy of whatever they say.
Right.
You know, so I don't get to see like, oh, he said this, she said this. If they say good things, they say good things. If they say bad things, they say bad things. And so it was feedback from the company. And so we got a really, really good rating, which is awesome because I work with really, really great, talented people. And so we're able to get on it. It's really cool.
Why do you think people enjoy working with you and for you so much?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I think the best thing is like we try to create a culture where, where there's no bureaucracy in the organization. I mean, man, I can imagine everyone. There's so many people listening, people that we talk to, that they're in these companies, and no matter how good they are, no matter, you know, how long they've been doing it and everything, you got to know someone to move up. It's very political. Yeah. There's a lot of just stuff involved. We have like a leadership program that's involved in the company where you can literally organically move up within the company into leadership roles, even an executive, fully metric based and move up just by like your merit, like what you're actually producing in the company, what you're bringing, how you're helping people, all that good stuff. And so doing things like that and paying people as high as we possibly can in the market, and just creating a competitive culture and protecting the people we come in, meaning that we make sure the right people, when we're hiring someone, we make sure that they're the right fit. I could care less about your talent. You know, there's a lot of talented people out there. It's about who you are as a person and the type of culture you create. So I think just protecting that and having a really core group of guys and girls, it helps, and it kind of builds off each other.
Okay, that's awesome. So how long have you been having and operating as the Mitt Group?
So we have been fully operational since I think February 2020. Prior to that, I'd been in the solar industry for about 2.5 years or so. Like I said, we started Mitt Group right before the pandemic hit, which was crazy timing.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it made the jump, and you know, started the organization, and I think like a few weeks right after we started, we got like the stay-at-home lockdown order. I was like, oh Lord.
So what did that do to the business? A brand new one.
Well, to be honest, I was scared. I was as scared as I could be, because I was like, holy cow. So the time I decided to start a company, this happens. You know,
right,
perfect timing, right? But no, it ended up working good. So we had to change like some of our operational stuff. Like we couldn't be in office. Primarily at the time, 100% of our appointments were either out of business or in someone's home, you know, actually working directly with consumers. And a lot of that was changed because a lot of people didn't want to meet in person because, you know, the COVID situation, right? And so with that, we just got creative. We did more Zoom appointments. We did more phone call appointments. We'd meet in person when we could. And I think weirdly, it ended up helping the business because all these people during the day would be at work. And the majority of people, I mean, the people that got hurt the most, and freaking, man, God bless them, is the waiters and stuff like that. They had nothing. They were just out of control, right? They couldn't control what was happening. But for a lot of people, they were working from home. They were still making income for the most part, but now they're home and they're sitting there thinking about what they can do to the house and how they want to save money and everything like that. And so I think solar kind of went hand in hand with it. And I think, I mean, there's no way to tell for sure, but I do think it helped the industry as a whole. We just had to be a little bit more creative.
Okay. And can we talk about, I guess, your background? So where are you from? Where did you grow up? and then I know you went to college.
Yeah.
And then talk how you got there.
Yeah, sure. So from Houston, Texas, I went to school in Clear Lake High School and Dickinson High School. I graduated from Dickinson. Played football, so sports was really big, and ended up going to play college football at Long Beach City College.
What position did you play? You got to be pretty good to go playing college.
I played quarterback. Yeah.
Okay.
So played quarterback. Went to Long Beach City College just outside of LA. Was out there for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then got a full. That was like smaller. They don't pay for everything, but in New York it was like a full scholarship, and so it was a school outside of Brooklyn, and so did that for about 3.5, 4 years total, playing football, and so it was cool. You know, I got to live out in LA and I got to live in New York, and so it was crazy cool experiences.
Yeah, while you were there, were you taking school seriously? Was it more like I want to play football, I'm going to have fun, or I'm going to study and learn? And I guess what were you studying?
Yeah, so I mean, I was going for business, but I mean, I was there for football. I've always been pretty entrepreneurial. A degree for me, and I hate to say this, but it was just like something I felt like, you know, I promised my mom, I was like, man, I'll get a degree. Right. You know, it was just kind of one of those things. I was always, so like when I first got to California, I immediately got into sales, and I started, because I redshirted my first year, and I was just full hands-on, focusing on sales and focusing on everything like that. And I was just learning a lot. You know, school, if I'm being honest, I did what I needed to do to get A's and B's and maybe a few C's and make sure I got a solid GPA. But I was more so focused on just like developing my skills in business and in sales and in leadership and focusing on football, because the thing I kind of picked up quickly was, you know, I was going to learn a heck of a lot more by figuring out like who's really making the biggest moves in the world. And like what's cool is I mention this all the time, I think it was in the article actually, is, you know, we have the power and the knowledge of now the best minds in the world literally in the palm of our hands with our phones. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because you've seen all these things with investing and everything like that. There's now a phrase, the retail investor, and that's the normal person, everyday person, not a guy on Wall Street or anything like that. Same thing for anybody starting a company. You have all the access and knowledge that you could ever need on the internet, which is crazy. And it's starting to level the playing field. And so just when I was out there a ton, it was a big growth stage for me. There's a lot of great times, a lot of stressful times. But it gave me an opportunity to really focus on developing and harnessing skills. So I knew eventually, you know, a time would come where, you know, I could go all out in business.
Did you want to own your own business? Like even in high school? Like that's the idea was to own?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in high school, I was flipping Jordans and shoes and selling stuff online and doing all types of stuff. So yeah, I think it was just pretty instinctive to you know, to want to own my own business. The hardest part was, you know, when you want to do that, you're like, man, but what do I want to do? Like, I feel like everything's been invented already. Like, how am I going to invent something? I'm like, man, I'm not a Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Like, I don't have a mind like that. But I know I was a good leader. I was naturally pretty solid at sales, and I feel like I had a good vision and everything like that. So I knew the thing I always told myself was, man, like, it'll come. It'll come. The opportunity will come. The idea will come. The situation will come. Just got to stay ready for it. So
speaking of sneakers, did you see that story that came out about the GM?
Yeah.
And I think Herbert or something, her son Joe was a sneaker reseller online.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see that?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy amounts, you know, $200,000 here, profiting, you know, 20, 40 grand, and then taking those pictures. And he released, how it broke, he kind of tattled on himself. Yeah. And then his mom asked I mean, that's wrong. It's wrong because, like, I mean, on the sneakers app and all that stuff, nobody can get a.
So what was a mom just giving him the hookup basically?
So he knew some inside information, like when sneakers were going to drop on their sneakers app, on the Nike or whatever. Yeah. And then he was also using her credit card, so her credit limit.
No, so she was using that as a line of credit and then flipping it.
Yeah, his mom's name is a line of credit. And then he would get the inside info, like, okay, it's going to drop. Because sometimes they'll do, like, these sneak drops or whatever. Yeah. But he was using bots. He would go on a Discord and tell people, like, hey, you know, 15 friends get into that way. They would clean out everything. But he had the inside info. His mom's credit limit.
Wow.
Who just happens to be the GM of Nike North America, like a whole continent.
Oh, my gosh.
So she resigned. I don't know, like the legalities of everything, but it seems wrong.
Yeah, it does seem wrong. The kid's pretty smart.
I guess so, right?
Super smart as a kid. 19. I feel horrible for the mom. I mean, she had to resign. I mean,
25 years at Nike.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He got some cool shoes, though.
Definitely got some cool shoes. Yeah.
Okay. So you were in California, ended up going out into New York, had a better scholarship offer.
Yeah.
Were you able to focus on school more? Did you say, hey, I still want to do sales? What happened?
So when I was in New York, the workload of football in school was just way more for whatever reason, just the way that they ran things there, which I guess is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So where I was able to work in California and sales and all that kind of stuff, I wasn't able to here, there in New York. And so I remember, I think I talked about this in the story. I was in, if you know anything about New York, you know that their apartments and dorm rooms it's like a shoebox.
It's tiny.
Super tiny.
Right.
And I don't even know the exact measurements, but super, super small for one person. I mean, just tiny. Like if you take like a small kitchen, like a tiny, tiny kitchen, and put like bunk beds and then one main big bed, and I had a 6'8", 320 lineman. They ended up going D1. And then this other running back. So it was all three of us just tight. I mean, we'd have to like squish.
You had one room?
One room. Okay. All three of us together. We had to squish through. And it was a crazy experience. But yeah, I was focusing on school. But what I kind of started doing is, I'll be honest, I was super stressed when I was there because I was trying to figure out what to do with football and what to do with the career. And at that point, I was like almost 22, 21, about to be 22 years old, I believe. And I talked about this in the Business Insider article is, what I started doing is I was always listening to people online and stuff about like entrepreneurship, business, sales, just different stuff, trying to figure out like what I want to do. And it's weird because I'd always pass by this like Barnes and Noble, and I kept hearing like all these really, really successful people, they were just readers. And it was weird. Like not people only that you think like, okay, that guy for sure reads.
Yeah.
But like I even heard like Lil Wayne's a huge reader, and like Jay-Z and like all these different people from all these different industries. Obama, when he was in the White House, that was something that helped him get through. Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, all these people that were just world leader changers, they were heavy, heavy readers. And I was like, what the heck? You know, what's the difference between like me listening to a recording or something versus reading? And there's all these crazy studies that what it does to your brain if you're actually reading it is completely different than just listening to something. And it's crazy. And so what I did is I was super, super broke. I tell about this story. I'm super honest about it. And was a broke college kid. And what I would do is I'd go into Barnes & Noble. They had a little cafe area, like a Starbucks or something like that. And I'd go in the business section and I'd find books that I thought would be interesting or I thought I would like. Now, if you know me, I'm the most ADD, ADHD person in the world. And so I cannot sit still. And I always say, I hate reading, right? So what I did is I was like, let's not work against that. What I'll do is I'll read for 15 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes, like 20 pages, like have a target, right? And then as soon as I hit that 30 pages or 20 pages, I'm stopping and I'm taking like a 15-minute break. I'm getting on Instagram, getting on Facebook, whatever, like relaxing, just taking a break because I knew I was such a spaz, I couldn't keep focus on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'd get like 3-4 books and I would just kind of slowly rotate it. And there's this book I read called The Compound Effect, and it's an awesome, like, you know, to the point book about, you know, like how to really move up and be successful. And it's not raw motivational, which I'm not really into. It's just practical steps to really move up. And what it kind of talked about is like the small daily actions you do every day. So like, for example, if you have a 30-minute commute to work every day, instead of listening to music the entire time, for just 10 minutes, listen to an audiobook, listen to something that's going to really help you in your business. Just 10 minutes a day. Just do this for like a small period of time. And over a 3-4 month period, you typically don't see a ton of results. But what happens is those actions slowly compound. And while that other person wasn't reading anything at all, yeah, they didn't read 15 pages a day, but you read only 15 pages every single day. By the time a year or 2, 3 years pass, you've accumulated a lot of knowledge. You're a completely different person. You're well-versed. You know all this different stuff. And you didn't just work your butt off and do all this extra stuff. You actually kept it simple. You just only did little things right over and over again. So that's kind of what I started to do. And what I started noticing is about 6 to 10 months later, I noticed I was carrying myself a little bit different. I noticed people kind of started treating me a little bit different. I noticed I was getting more and more and more creative. I started trying to do this and starting this and doing these things. And I noticed all my football coaches going, man, like dude, you're going to do really well in business. And I wasn't even talking. It was the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know if they sensed it. I don't know if it's the way I have no idea. I have no clue. I wish I could tell you. But it started to really pay off. And so I think that's what it kind of started guiding me in the right direction. So by the time I got back to Houston, I was ready to go.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. I like that. Was there a book that was so good that you scrounged up the money, being a broke college kid, as you said, to buy it, or you went back later and said, I just need to have a copy of this?
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, by Napoleon Hill. So I tell everybody, if you before you learn anything, before you figure out, like, let's say you're trying to figure out where you want to go to school, what career path you want to do, before you do any of that, I think. And if you think about all the different things they teach you in school, they've never taught us how to think. It is unbelievably hard to control your brain. So hard. I mean, I have to work on this every single day. That's how hard it is, because I know I'm not good enough to just work hard and do random stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so Think and Grow Rich, it teaches you how to properly think the right way. And if you learn how to think the right way and how to control this however many year-old brain that we have, then you can learn how to organize it and kind of get it to go in the direction that you want to go. Then if you want to become an engineer, then if you want to be in sales, then if you want to be an entrepreneur, then if you want to be this, you now know how to think and process things the right way to give you the best chance to succeed.
When you say learn how to think, you mean like organize your brain, or what do you mean?
Yeah, so like the way to process things. So I can go in so many different directions with it. So like the way to think so think about this. So our human brain is meant to do one thing, and it's to survive. So if you think about it, me and Gardy don't have to go fight off a saber-tooth tiger to survive and bring food back to the village anymore, right? If me and Gardy want food after this, we can go get some Mickey D's. We'll have it in 10 minutes from now, right? We can go to HEB. We don't have to go hunt for something. We have a steak. We can grill it. We're already going to have it, right? So because that's the difference, your brain is still like, oh, Gardy, I got to survive. I got to survive. I got to survive. So instead of worrying about a saber-toothed tiger, your brain starts worrying about, oh man, what if I don't make rent? Oh, what if I lose my job? Oh, what if my girlfriend breaks up with me? You know, it just, like, let's say you're like, man, Grant, I really want this F-150. I've been thinking about getting it. I really want this pair of sneakers. I really want to go on this trip. You notice, like, right after you have that conversation, what ends up happening is everywhere you go, you see it. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't go, you thought nobody had this one type of F-150. You find out everyone has them for some reason, right? Or this shoe is everywhere, right? And what it is it was probably there just as much as it was before, but your brain, you've told your subconscious to focus on it, and now it's just filtering and picking it up. It was all there before. Now you're just showing and telling your brain to pick it up and actually view it and see things that way. So it's the same thing in life. You got to control your brain and teach your brain what you want it to focus on. And it is so dang smart, I promise you. And it's unbelievable what you can actually do, your brain, what, like, the true power of it when you get it to focus on the right things.
So is that a book that you read in New York? Did
Absolutely.
You find that one in New York?
Yep. First time. And I would read it, like, I mean, honestly, I like listen to it or read it almost every week, just continually.
Really?
Just over and over again. Yeah, because I'm not good enough, man, to just show up. Like, hopefully some of you guys are listening, but I know I'm not. Like, I wish I could tell you guys I just work hard and I just really spin around in circles and hope that everything's more. You have to have calculation and you got to have strategy with everything you do, or you get beat. I mean, it's too competitive.
Have you always been, I guess, motivated, a self-motivated person, like even from a young age?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think sports kind of goes hand in hand with that. That's why I think sports is such good for life and business, because you learn how to be on a team, you learn how to compete, you learn how to deal with failure. Being a quarterback. I mean, obviously I didn't make the NFL or anything like that, but I was Dickinson Gates. Tough place to play quarterback because everybody's got opinion, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're amazing people. It's amazing talent. But, I mean, I've been hero, zero in a one-week basis, you know what I mean? And so you learn how to deal with criticism, and it makes you tough. It helps you deal with stuff. And so that's the biggest thing is just, learning how to deal with all that.
Okay, awesome. So at what point did you decide football is it done? Did you play all 4 years and say I'm not going to finish, or what happened that pushed you to start the business? Yeah,
so I got my AA, and so I was at a junior college, and basically I realized like I was going to get some small like D2 scholarships and stuff like that after I left the junior college,
which is pretty cool. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It's cool, but at that point I kind of got to the point where it's like, look, I'm going to have to be perfect. I'm a 6-foot guy. I was at my peak 175. I could run around, make plays. I was super accurate, but I knew there was a slim chance of me making the league. Like I had buddies that were going to do it. I had to work overly hard to be really good at football. It didn't just come natural. Like there's some people I know, they've never lifted a weight in their life, and they go out there and they're just unreal. And I wish I was like that, but unfortunately I never was. But I was always really good or solid, you know. But what I realized is, like, man, like, business is what I need to be focusing in. Like, I don't want to play football as a hobby anymore. I'm not 19 years old. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm 22. I'm literally a grown man. I have no money. I got to figure something out. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and transfer back to University of Houston. It'll give me an opportunity to, you know, work remote. I know people in Houston. I was like, man, go back and live with my mom. I literally slept on my mom's couch for a year. And I was like, I'm just going to save up everything. Then I'll get an apartment in Houston, figure everything out.
Where's your mom living?
She lives in KHEA.
In KHEA, okay.
Yeah, so she lives in KHEA. And so moved back, and I was going to go to U of H. Got to U of H. At orientation, the counselor or whatever already knew my name, which kind of scared me. I was like, why does she know my name? And it's because none of my credits transferred. So I was, I was literally supposed to be a senior, and it went back to literally like, hey, so like you're a senior on paper, but at U of H you're a freshman. And I'm like, wait, what? So y'all waited until I got accepted. We did the whole like entrance and everything, and so that
doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It was crazy. I was like, well, this was a complete waste of time. So I tried to go for a semester, and they wouldn't accept any of my credits. But anyways, I got into solar and just started moving up and focusing on it.
You started doing sales?
Yep. Immediately got into sales.
Did you know somebody, or why did you even pick solar? Or, I mean, obviously sales because you had some a pass with it.
Yeah. So no, I knew nobody that was in solar at all. I mean, as far as Texas, I mean, I don't know for people listening. I mean, there's not many people. Now it's growing, but there was nobody I knew in solar. Like, I wish I had some cool connection. I wish someone in my family knew someone. They didn't at all. You know what I mean? My first week, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I need to make money. I'm Ubering all around Houston trying to make money. In between rides, what I would do is I was like, I need to make $100,000. That's my goal. I was like, I'm in sales. That's what I wanted to be in. And I was like, I got to knack for it. I got to figure out a good vehicle to do it. And so I applied to jobs literally between rides. I got like a couple of interviews, interviewed the following week, got a job in sales, and then I was off to the races.
What was that like, that transition? You know, full-time sales. I mean, if you sell, you make money. If you don't, I guess you're not, right?
Yeah. No, actually, I mean, it's instinctive, man, because, I mean, that's how I was in football. You know, you get, obviously wasn't getting paid, but you get rewarded for the value you bring.
That you can talk about.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That's true. But now, like, but yeah, no, absolutely. Like, you know, sales-wise is you got to produce to succeed. And so it's a good setup for running your own business and everything like that. But yeah, got into sales and moved into management and director and VP and just kept moving up.
So at the beginning, did you realize I'm going to maybe start my own solar company, or I'm going to just see where this goes in this company?
No, so I mean, I didn't think I was going to start necessarily a solar company. I knew eventually I wanted to own my own business. I didn't know what it was. The first thing I needed to focus on is getting in the right vehicle that can give me the opportunity to learn the things so I can get there. You know what I mean? It was always, to me, I always felt like it was inevitable to eventually get a situation that really works and it's great. But I knew like the first step was really just learning and putting things to action. You can read books all day and they're great, but if you're not taking any action, you're not going to get anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you started putting it in action. What pushed you to, hey, I'm going to start the Mitt group and I'm going to go out on my own? And that was, you said, right before the pandemic.
Yeah. So I had, the company I was working for, I'd moved up a bunch. And at that point, I got offered like a VP of sales role, and I was going to run sales for the entire company. So however many people we had, 60, 70, 80 people, sales reps directly I was going to be responsible for. And I kind of realized I was kind of outgrowing the business that I was working for, the company. And I kind of just started, like, I was like, man, I just have a knack for it. And there were some operational things that I didn't care for. And I felt like, you know, the people that were working there weren't getting paid as much as they could. And I just felt like there were certain different things that I feel like I could have made a bigger impact if I was able to run, because I had a goal of having a really good culture and a really good environment that could give people the best opportunity to succeed. And I was going back and forth. I kept asking all these different people advice. And a lot of people was like, you know, this is a great opportunity, Grant, keep it, blah, blah. And they were right. You know, they weren't wrong. But it's weird, I always say trust your instincts. I had this like weird gut feeling. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, something tells me you need to do it. Like you have to. And I remember I asked someone, they said, well, Grant, if you keep getting that, you need to do it. You need to do it. And I was like, you know what? I can get a solar job at this point anywhere. If I completely fail and it's whatever, I lose all the money I started in it. It is what it is. You know what? I did this in a year. I was on my mom's couch literally almost 2 years ago prior to that. I'm like, can't get worse than that. Honestly, the couch was pretty comfy.
Yeah, it's not that bad, really.
I was like, you know what I mean? And I'm sure my mom will move in, you know what I mean? And then I'll get another job. So I'm like, man, I will be fine. There's another job waiting on me. So I'm just going to say, you know what? Like, let's jump. Let's make it happen. The worst thing that happens is I go get another sales job or a management job in another month or two, and I knew I'll figure it out. But I don't want to think back 5 years from now and going, dang, I should have freaking done it.
What if?
What if? You know what I mean? And so I took the leap.
Okay, so Business Insider listed 5 different things, how you got from that place, saved up money, and were able to start your business. Can we go through those 5?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then later I want to ask, how did Business Insider just reach out to you? I'm just interested in that. That's really cool.
Yeah, they just reached out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just put a bunch of stuff out there, and she saw something, looked up, and wanted to do an article, I guess. So
cool. That's awesome. So the first one that they list is you need to find a job that fits your needs.
Yep. Okay, so this is the best way I could put that one is you got to pick the right vehicle. If you want to do anything business or entrepreneurial, or you want to do well financially, stop focusing on this like perfect little fantasy land of, oh, this is, this makes me feel good, or this is my dream, or this is what I'm good at. Instead, like at first solar was not my passion to start with.
Yeah.
I never woke up one day and was like, man, I have a passion of selling solar panels. Now I'm passionate about it because I've learned about what it can do in helping people. But the first thing is, if you're in the wrong vehicle, if me and Gardy have a race tomorrow, all right, and let's say I'm the best driver ever, and Gardy's like solid, right? But Gardy's like, you know what? I'm racing Grant. I'm going to get a Ferrari, and I go out and I get a Honda. No matter how good of a driver I am, Gardy is going to blow me out of the water. Why? Now, is there a chance he could wreck? Yep. Is there a chance he could have engine failure? Absolutely. But I'd much rather risk engine failure with a Ferrari than a Honda if I'm racing someone.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing is pick an industry, job, sector, or business that if you succeed at a high level, you have a unbelievably high earning potential and you have a chance to do really well. There's a chance that you may not do well in anything. You might as well pick a right vehicle.
And sales has a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Really, because it just depends on how well you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I can control it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I could fail, but I also knew I could be really successful. And so that gave me an opportunity where, like, I couldn't go get a 6-figure job at 22, 23 years old. Like, I just knew it's too difficult, just salary. But I know that a company would pay me that much if I could bring them that much value. Because if I'm making that, the company's making a heck of a lot of money too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Okay, so the second one, you didn't increase spending, and that seems like it would be hard for me, for most people.
Yeah.
Right?
I learned my lesson when I was in California. I was first in sales. If I had $1,000, I had $1,000 to spend. I mean, I was as dumb as can be. Luckily, I'm not like that now. But yeah, what I did is I was like, man, I have to save money. So it's hard to save your way to money. Save your way to wealth. So you got to save and invest it. And, just spending money on stuff that isn't going to pay you and isn't going to make you money is just not going to work. So, and like I said, I had a goal of getting out. So, especially in the short term, especially when you don't have a lot of capital and you need to invest it, you spending money on unnecessary amount of shoes and clothes and trips and this is only going to slow everything down because you don't have the buying capital to be able to go, oh yeah, this trip is no big deal. These shoes are no big deal. You can do that when you're wealthy, when you make a lot of money. But when you're starting off, you need every dollar that you can to save and invest it. So stay humble, you know what I mean? So I stayed on the couch for a year and then just saved every single month.
Yeah. Okay. So number 3 says separate your money into different pots.
Yeah. So I'm very I'm naturally would be a spender. I like nice things. So what I do is I kind of control the psychology of it. So let's say you get paid, let's say $5,000, all right, in a month. The second that hits your account, if you're W-2, the taxes are already separated. But if you're 1099, then you'd have to separate the taxes. So immediately I put the taxes 30% into the tax account, right? Next, figure out what your operating costs are on like whatever, like let's say you get paid biweekly. Figure out what your operating costs is on a biweekly basis. Immediately, let's say it's out of that $5,000. Let's say taxes. Okay, so tax would be $1,500 on that. So that would be what, $2,500 left?
I don't know. I'm not good at math. I was going to ask you after this. I was like, you must be good at math.
Okay, there we go. $3,500. So you take away. Okay, so you got $5,000. $1,500 goes to taxes, right? So you got $3,500 now. Let's say you need $1,000 for operating expenses. That means immediately, okay, I haven't spent a dime yet. That $2,500, I'm immediately moving to my savings account, right? So the money that I have and I operate with is that $1,000 for that 2 weeks. Now you do whatever you want, you eat whatever you want, but it's got to be within that $1,000. That savings money that you put in there is not, almost look at it as not even yours, right? And every penny, first save up 10 grand. So you have a security blanket. You could lose your job tomorrow. You're still good on rent, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it is. But once you get over that 10 grand limit, every single amount needs to be allocated and invested and controlled. So it needs to be like a machine. Now, let's say you, instead of 5 grand, now you make 10 grand. Perfect. Now you could up your operating costs. You know, you may want to do it to 2K over that 2 weeks span or the 30-day span or whatever it is. That's fine. But focus on saving and investing even more, especially on the short term. And what you do is you do that early. You got to pay yourself first, you know, because now I'm not thinking, oh, I got 5,000. No. That's not money for you. That's to grow you and your business and your family, and maybe you want to buy a house or whatever. You're ready for it. You know what I mean? So you're controlling your expenses the second it hits your account.
So you look at your checking and it says, hey, I still got the same amount that I had even when I was making $5,000 a month. Yeah. Now I'm making 10, but you still live that same lifestyle too.
In a way, like I hate to say it, but stay broke. Like I trick myself even to this day. Like I literally, I leave so little money in my checking account except for operating costs because I'm tricking myself to thinking I don't have money. So I'm working more for it, and it makes sure that I can't go spend and buy stupid stuff. You know what I mean? So even to this day, now I allow myself to spend more money because I'm making more income. But at the same time, I'm not just doing all this, you know, crazy stuff just because I make a little bit more money now.
But imagine how good your life would be if you were.
It would just
short
term.
Yeah.
Short term. You know what I mean? It's quick on the way up. It's even quicker on the way down. So, So like you got to invest that money. You know, you got to invest it every chance you get, especially short term.
Okay, so then the next one, you opened a brokerage account and you invested.
Yeah.
How did you find, I guess, good investments, solid investments, and what did you choose?
So I started Robinhood. First thing is, I think investing, I'm not a master at it yet, but I'm getting pretty good at it, it's honestly a lot of common sense. I mean, no matter what you say, no matter what your political views are, it doesn't matter. We know our electric vehicles probably going to be bigger in 10 years than they are now.
Yes.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 3-4 years ago, people thought Tesla wouldn't even stay a company, would go bankrupt. And now they have almost a $900 billion valuation. It's happening. So no matter what you think, electric vehicles are coming. It's going to be a thing. No matter what you think, probably solar is going to get bigger than it is right now, right? Now they're doing all this stuff with space travel and stuff. It's going to be a thing. Like we will probably, by the time our kids will be able to probably travel to the moon. It sounds crazy right now, but it will probably happen. Like it is inevitable. Unless something crazy happens, like it is trending towards that direction. For example, Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, when they first became companies and they were growing in MySpace, it was evident that probably social media was going to be a thing, especially when everyone has internet directly on their phone. Like it's obvious, right? Mm-hmm. So look at trends. One thing I do is like study the market. Basically, like just as simple as getting on Yahoo Finance or getting on Bloomberg or getting on Wall Street Journal and just read, look at the news, see what companies are doing this, see this company's merging, this company's going public. It's obvious. Like I think I think Jeff Bezos says, like, when I started investing in companies that change people's lives, everything changed for me. Like things that are really moving the way people live and operate, it's just obvious. You know what I mean? Like pandemic hit. Isn't it obvious that we were probably going to use Zoom more?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the people investing in Zoom made like 300-400% because it's obvious. Like obviously, we're gonna need to Zoom more because we can't see people in person. You see how simple it is? So it's like simplifying things and then understanding the markets. You can get on YouTube, you can get all these different things, and you can learn a heck of a lot too. But a lot of it's just common sense and practice. And honestly, like, be willing to lose stuff. I mean, who cares? If you lose 10, 15%, you were going to go buy some shoes with it anyways. You were going to go to freaking Cabo with your friends. You were going to go somewhere. At least learn and develop, and you can, oh, yeah, if you mess up on that side, okay, cool. You can sell and move your money in something else. And then eventually what happens is you mess up enough, you start getting kind of decent. You know what I mean?
You mess up and do something good.
You mess up and do something good. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like one of those things, I'd say.
So so it's pretty interesting the way you did it. So you had like, hey, I got this 10,000 that's saved in case something comes up.
Yeah.
Then after that, I can put away some portions to start saving, maybe invest with this, save this and, rainy day fund. Yeah. And this is what I need to live off of. Yeah. So you separated the different pots so that way you can still play with the money as in investing. Yep. And then still have a backup just in case something goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So I control it because I know I like nice things, but if I can control it and systemize it, then it's going to help me be more disciplined.
Okay. And then number 5, save to cover your expenses. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
So that was for starting the business, but even in general. So like I always tell people, create leverage in your life. So like a lot of people right now, for the most part, I'm sure we have some people that own and operate businesses, but majority of the workforce in the United States, they are working for someone in a company. And I'm not telling people to everyone go start a business, because sometimes it's better to be an entrepreneur and work for a really great company, really great leader. And, like Steve Ballmer, Microsoft, he was the 30 or 35th employee hired at Microsoft. Now he owns the Clippers. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, as great as a business person he is, I doubt he was going to create something like Microsoft. So sometimes being a part of a really good thing is good. But I always talk about creating leverage in your life. Opportunities are going to come. Like, there will be a point in time for every single person that's listening where like this unbelievable career opportunity comes up, or business opportunity or something. Don't be the guy or girl that isn't ready for it. So the opportunity is like, hey, we can move here. Oh, but I haven't been saving for the last 5 years. Oh, that's a big risk. What if I don't make a lot? Or you get an opportunity to start a company. You haven't saved a dime for 5 years. And you have the best opportunity in the world right in front of you, multi-million-dollar idea, and you're not ready for it because you didn't save and you didn't have money ready to go. So create leverage in your life, and never be at the mercy of, and I even tell this to my people, it's like, never be at the mercy of someone. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be times, unfortunately, when less people will buy solar. For example, January is typically a lower month for whatever reason, just like in retail. So yeah, you can still be successful, but you need to be saving and investing so you're walking into appointments fully confident and not in fear that I need to make money. You feel confident, you feel at peace because you've prepared and you have leverage and you have money, not because you're rich or because you make all this money, but because you're smart and disciplined with your money. So just create leverage with everything you do, because it gives you the opportunity to make decisions, and that's the most important part.
In Texas, with us having that freeze, did that kind of help your business a bit?
So, I mean, that week it didn't, because, I mean, the whole company was just shut down for a week. But after, yes. So the full week, 75% of my workforce was like literally no power, no nothing. But that next following week, I mean, like,
dude, I told him, you got to get solar. What are you doing? You got to solar.
Exactly right. Like literally as I'm sitting here, I've probably gotten like 50 leads of like people just sending information to get solar. So sorry I haven't called you guys, or sorry our team hasn't called you guys. We'll get to it in a second.
So we got to end this so we can go make some money and get back to it, right?
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, so but yeah, it boomed. Like last week was crazy. We're in unbelievable amount of appointments a day. We have tons today. So yeah, tons of people are interested in thinking about solar because of it, and it makes complete sense.
Okay, so there's one final thing I think that we definitely need to talk about. Yeah, that's like your personal goal. So you you started your business. It's all laid out in Business Insider. It's really awesome to read. So make sure you go check it out. Yeah. Does it stop there? Are you happy? Say, hey, I got my business. Just let it naturally grow. See what it does. Are you setting goals still? And what's the plan?
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. So still a lot of things to work on. So I'm trying to scale the solar company like nationwide for sure. We need to this year 3 to 4 times what we did in sales last year. As far as not only that, but we're going to grow that company, grow it as much as possible. And I'm also starting a blockchain company. We're going to do crypto mining, which is crazy.
I did that like 3 or 4 years ago through a company, and it was a great investment. It turns out, yeah.
No, it's awesome.
But that one shut down, so I'm gonna have to check yours out.
Yeah. So we're gonna do we're gonna mine like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're gonna have like warehouses. I'm gonna have warehouses full of tons of machines that are just mining this stuff. It's unbelievable technology. So that might be the big deal, the big break. But the biggest thing is, like I talked about vehicles, like I'm utilizing these 2 vehicles now. The crypto thing that's gonna be starting will be operational about 2 to 3 weeks, and then continue to develop and grow the solar company so our people do well, and so we continue to grow. But it's also going to lead to other things. So once we develop those things, it's just going to lead to another opportunity. I always say there's $1 billion idea. It'll come. Like there will be some type of investor. I'll meet some type of person, but I promise you I'm going to be ready for it, because I'm not going to get cocky. I'm going to stay humble. I know I can lose it all and not that much time, knock on wood. But that's kind of freeing, because it lets you become fearless, and it helps you prepare for it, because like I said, the opportunities will come. And then that's when we'll have more businesses and more ideas and stuff like that.
How about you on a personal level, like as far as like your net worth? Is there any goals you have?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to get over 7 figures and stuff like that. But I mean, just the biggest thing, I mean, that's great. More so I just want to make a bigger impact. You know what I mean? Help. More so that is, if you can focus more on helping other people around you become really, really successful financially, I promise you'll be all right. You know what I mean? So the main thing right now is just really developing these companies, making sure everyone that works in the organization and just is around or friends with it could be listening and stuff like that, that you know, I can give them at least like something that I've learned along the way. Because I tell people all the time, like, I wish I could tell you some secret sauce. I wish I could tell you that I knew somebody and all this kind of. It's not true at all. I just mess up so many times. I'm slowly starting to figure it out, and I still mess up daily. So it's just more so focusing on that.
And you have a podcast that just started.
Yeah.
How can somebody find it? What's it called, and what are you talking about?
Yeah, so it's called the Mitt Podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So yeah, I'm on episode 3 right now. So I guess episode 4 will be on Friday. But yeah, just simple like business, mindset, psychology, a lot of stuff that we talked about here. But yeah, just stuff like that. And so anything, and it can be anybody. Like you don't have to be starting a business. You don't have to be in sales. Just like strategy and how to kind of win in life and be able to make it happen.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to share this morning?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you having me on. Anybody that's watching it, if you guys are interested in solar and stuff like that, we'll be more than happy. I'll do like for anybody that is listening that sends in stuff online, we'll give you guys a $1,000 rebate. Basically, like we'll cover, I don't know how many payments that is. That's anywhere from 6 to 12 months of basically free solar that will literally, like after you guys installed, we'll cut you a check for $1,000. Just tell our sales rep or our team that I sent you from the radio. So we'll do that for anybody interested. And other than that,
that's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I may have to take you up on that myself.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Thank you for joining. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. All right. Hey, Facebook, again, feel free to share this out. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Just a couple of minutes. So if you'll have your dinner, lunch, and we'll be with you in just a second. Have your seat. Well, okay, now that you're quiet, I guess I should go on and start. Good afternoon, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Texas City Lamarck Chamber of Commerce Business Luncheon, our annual State of the County and Cities presentation. Before we begin the program, I'd like to I have Pastor Walter Hallam come up and lead us in our invocation. Pastor Hallam.
Before I pray, let me just say also that today, 36 years ago, my wife and I moved here and held our first meeting in our home with 10 people. So this is a great anniversary day and a great joy to be with you today here also. We're from Abundant Life Christian Center. Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we do come before you because you're the great ruler, the leader. Lord, without you, we can do nothing. But God, I thank you that you empower men and women to lead and to oversee the affairs of men. And I pray in our cities today, in Texas City and Lamarck and those that are represented here today, God, that your power and your might, your wisdom will be upon us, that every person will have a great testimony one day that they have recovered from all of the effects of 2020, and that, Lord, that you have restored, like you said in your word you would do. I pray, God, that great vision will be in front of the men and women of this house, that you will bless the mayors that are here today, that you'll bless the leaders of the chamber, the leaders of businesses, our commissioners, our judges. Thank you, God, that once again, Lord, we have to have you in our life to oversee the affairs of other people. So give us wisdom, give us integrity, and let righteousness rule in our land today. Thank you, Lord, for blessing our bread and water, taking all sickness from us. We give you all glory and all praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Hallam. Now, if you will all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Once again, welcome everyone. I'm Georgia Barzilay, the 2021 Chairman of the Board for the Texas City Lamarck Chamber of Commerce. I have Carrot Creations Jewelry Store here in Texas City. I'm honored to be here for this event. I would like to introduce to you our head table. On my far right is Pastor Walter Hallam, Abundant Life Christian Center. Right here is Commissioner Darrell Apfel, Galveston County Precinct 1, Mayor Keith Bell from the City of Lamarck, and Mayor Dedrick Johnson from the City of Texas City. Paige Michelle, our new chamber president, is on medical leave and not with us today, but is watching, I can promise you. So if you will all just wave and say hi to Paige, it will be good. So say hi. Hi, Paige. And you will meet her at the banquet for sure. There might be some other VIPs in the room, including city, county, and school board elected officials. At this time, I would like for all other elected officials to please stand and be recognized if there are anyone here. And it's not on my agenda, but I have to tell you, we do have a couple of first-timers here. One is, a first-timer is our Texas City Lamarck Chamber past president, Jenny Zinner, who is on this side of the podium this year. So Jenny, please stand. Thank you. Welcome. We also have a new chamber face, Jordan Kleinke. He is the director of membership for the chamber. Jordan, are you in here? He must be outside getting a new member, okay. And someone else who is on the other side of the fence this year is Mayor Matt Doyle, who has been on this side for the last 16 years or so. So, Matt, thank you for your service as well. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Marathon Petroleum, TNMP, Amico Federal Credit Union, Linebarger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson Law Firm, Eastman Chemical, UTMB Health, the City of Texas City, Valero, Houston Methodist, City of Lamarck. Please join me in a round of applause for these people, our sponsors. And I see that he just walked in. So Jordan, would you please stand and introduce you? He is our new Director of Membership for the Texas City Lamarck Chamber. Okay, our first speaker today is County Commissioner Darrell Apfel. Darrell is the County Commissioner for Precinct 1 for Galveston County. He represents the communities of Bay Cliff, Bolivar Peninsula, Clear Lake Shores, Dickinson, Kemah, League City, San Leon, and Texas City. He is a lifelong resident of Galveston County and is currently serving his second term as County Commissioner. Daryl graduated from O'Connell High School in 1981, Texas A&M University in 1985 with a degree in building construction, and went on to graduate South Texas College of Law in 1988 with a Doctor of Jurisprudence degree. He is married to his high school sweetheart, Pam Holland-Apfel, and together they have 3 grown children and 5 grandchildren. He has been a practicing attorney in Galveston County for the past 35 years, owning and operating Apfel Legal PLLC with his son Blake. Prior to being elected county commissioner in 2016, Daryl served his community as the Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, for 12 years. During his first term as commissioner, he has delivered many accomplishments to the residents and taxpayers of Precinct 1, but the one he is most proud of is that he and his fellow commissioners have cut the county property tax rate every year, all while increasing law enforcement and improving roads and drainage and refurbishing and beautifying county parks. Commissioner Apfel also serves on the board of the newly elected GCTD and Family Service Center. Daryl's latest title and honor, I think, was Father of the Bride this past weekend as he married his daughter, Allie. So let me welcome to the podium Daryl Apfel.
I'm so glad that's over. It was a blast. Good morning to all of you. I bring you greetings from Judge Henry. He intended to be here, but because of the reschedule of the event, he was double booked and couldn't make it. And so I am honored to be here to do this for him and for our fellow commissioners in the court and for the Texas City Chamber. I have lots of exciting things to share with you that our county's doing. I'd like to thank the Chamber for this all-important event, and Miss Georgia, thank you for all you do. And thank you, Paige, for all you do. Thank you, Mayor Bell and Mayor Johnson, for your leadership in the communities, and thank you for allowing me to share the stage with you this morning. I have quite a bit to talk to you about, but in such a short time, and so we're going to kind of buzz through it, but of course we can't start without talking COVID. We're going to talk about the state of the county economy and our economic development. We're going to talk about budget and taxes, which are all too important to all of us, in particular, each of us. Talk about our current capital improvements, our transportation and mobility, and give you a brief mobility brief update. When I talk about COVID, you know, Pam and I were driving, and she said it reminds me of the old days when we had landlines, and some people would put these long, detailed messages about what to do, and then some would say, here comes the beep, you know what to do. That's where we are in COVID. Goodness, here comes the beep, you know what to do. But in particular, I'm particularly happy that we are seeing a steady decline in the last peak, which was in December and January. We are actually lower than we were after the July peak. And it's very important that we continue doing what we're doing. And I believe the vaccine and our county testing have been things that make the decline part of what it is. We, Galveston County, have been leaders in testing since April, May of 2020. We began at that time in partnership with UTMB and with the County Health District, mass testing. We committed dollars to make sure that every uninsured individual got a free test if they wanted one. We have continued to commit those dollars for free testing today. What that does is allow people to know and understand early on the onset of symptoms or positivity rate so that they can do what they need to do to make sure that they quarantine and stay back. We are also leaders in vaccination. You know, well, to back up, we have tested over 320,000 individuals in our county. That's a 90% testing rate so far, and we are continuing that testing if a person would like one. With regard to vaccinations, when our governor issued the mandate that we start mass vaccination hubs, our judge's office and his staff went into action, and within 7 days, they closed Walter Hall Park in League City. They set up a drive-through vaccination site, which I'm sure many of you may have been to, and it has been just nothing more than a phenomenal feat. To date, we have vaccinated over 80,000 individuals, administered 80,000 doses, and of those, about 20,000 are totally vaccinated. Today, we will vaccinate approximately 2,700 individuals tomorrow, and Friday and Saturday for a total of about 10,000. We're up from about 4,000 vaccinations a week prior to the freeze. As you saw on the news, the doses will be forthcoming and more so every day, and we are committed to vaccinating as many folks as we can based on the doses so that we can get this pandemic behind us. We do believe that our partnership with UTMB and the Galveston County Health District are what makes us leaders in the community in this vaccination process. You can come back to, if you don't mind, Jed, if you need to get testing, you can call this number here, and it's open for anyone at any time, and you can be tested. If you need to sign up for the vaccine, you can go to utmbhealth.com/vaccine or dial the 1877 number. And any of these numbers, they are on our county homepage for you to look at. We are still in only the phase 1A and 1B phase of vaccinations, which, as you all know, are healthcare workers and frontline workers in 1A, and those individuals over 16 with other medical conditions in 1B. We hope that within the next 2 weeks that we move into another phase, but we are prepared and ready to do that. We also are looking at other sites for mass vaccination hubs. Currently, instead of setting up another site, we have done mobile vaccination sites. We've gone into Hitchcock. We will go into areas that we believe the folks can't get to the park to make sure that everyone gets vaccinated. We have a list of over 100,000 individuals currently signed up for the vaccination, but don't let that discourage you because it's moving fast. If you're number 100,000 on the list, it doesn't mean that's when you're going to get your vaccination. We have individuals through UTMB and the Health District screening that wait list to make sure that we get those individuals with the most needs first vaccinated. So it's important to get on the wait list, and you could be the next person. We are always asking for volunteers. We need volunteers. If you are a small business or a large business and you would like to take your staff to the Walter Hall Park to volunteer one day, you can contact our Office of Emergency Management to set that up. We are especially in need of medical volunteers, those with a medical background of pretty much any sort. We can adopt you to make you a vaccinator, and so if you know someone or you are someone, please spread the word and have them contact Office of Emergency Management. With regard to our state of Galveston County, as we all know, COVID-19 has impacted the economy at a national level, at a state level, and of course at our local level. But we here in Galveston County are not as bad off as our partners. We are certainly not 100% here, but I believe we are in better shape than some of our neighbors contiguous to us. This past summer, our county judge, formed a business task force to meet the needs of small businesses and small business owners, to assist them with how they could learn to stay open and how they could deal with the pandemic and stay open. I especially want to thank this chamber and Paige for their cooperation and their partnership in assisting us with that business task force. And I believe because of the business task force, we have been able to stay open to some extent and be better off than our neighbors. With regard to economic development, I think we're in some very exciting times. Our economic development director will tell us that he's the busiest he's ever been. We continue to see large numbers of leads and significant interest in Galveston County. Of course, we're all very happy for Mayor Bell and the city of Lamarck with regard to the Amazon delivery station, which we all believe is wonderful. Another great accomplishment for the city of Texas City and Galveston County is the Gulf Coast Ammonia project. When finished, that will be over a $1 billion project that will bring $4 to $4.5 million revenue dollars into the county, and that many millions into the city of Texas City and Texas City ISD. So it's a wonderful project. It's as you can see, it's number 5 on the top 25 projects in the state of Texas. So we're very proud of that. And Mayor Doyle and his staff had helped and worked with all of the county to make sure that that was done, and it is actually in construction and in the process, and we're very happy to see that. Budget and taxes are always a very interesting topic. I'm particularly proud to tell you that for over the last decade, we have decreased the tax rate by 24.3 cents. That's, 24.3% overall. You can see it started over in 2011 at 62 cents. And at the end of FY 2021, which we had in October, we were down to 47 cents. We maintain a AAA bond rating, and we're one of only 10 coastal counties of the 254 counties with such a rating. We do that because of our tax cuts, and we do that because of our fiscal responsibility. These are real tax cuts to you. If you look at your county tax portion of your bill, which is a relatively small portion compared to the others, you will see that you pay less dollars than you did the year before on your county portion of the tax. Now, I have to give a caveat to that, which is, of course, our great Central Appraisal District. That's not taking into account if the Central Appraisal District increases your value to your home, then obviously you may not see that. But it is real net, no new revenue tax cuts. We are working with the legislature with regard to the CAD and what can be done with regard to taxable values of properties, and we commit to you to continue that fight for you and for all of us. It's almost time. Our budget cycle is from October 1 to September 30th, and it's almost time to begin our 2022 budget. We're excited to meet that budget. We're excited to hit it head on with the same attitude that we've had in the past, and I commit to you that we will all continue to fight for and look for and make tax cuts as we've done in the past decade. You all may recall in 2017, you were gracious enough to pass a bond initiative for the county of, I believe, approximately $80 million. Of that, a portion some of it went to roads and bridges and drainage, and some of it went to capital improvements. We have 4 very exciting capital improvement projects that I'd like to report to you. The first is our new road and bridge facility. It was built in the 40s. It's very outdated. I don't know if you've seen it, but when you travel up Highway 3 to the north, just before you get to the Dickinson Bayou Bridge, that old tin barn on the right is the road and bridge facility. We're in the process of designing and breaking ground in the spring, very, very soon, on a $8.3 million new road and bridge facility. The reason, because we can save money the more we can do in-house with your vehicles and your county equipment. We can handle it there and take care of it. Lee Crowder is our road and bridge director and a very talented individual and is committed to helping us save money with regard to that department with a new facility. The North County Annex renovation. We all know that Galveston is our county seat. The problem with that is our footprint is expanding to the north. League City is now the largest city in the county. Texas City is the second largest city. So as we expand to the north, the presence of our county annex needs to be bigger and better. We need to expand the capacity for the efficiency of services to each of you. I stood in line yesterday at Calder to get a registration for my vehicle. The lines are always long. Cheryl Johnson, our tax assessor, we asked for more service stations to help you spend less time in her office getting your registration and doing the things you do there. And we are doing that. We will be adding stations, and all to benefit you and to protect and care for your time. The Bay Cliff JP and Commissioner's Court, where I office, which is the Precinct 1 Commissioner's office, is a metal tin building that's very old and very dilapidated and in very need of replacement. I mean, it's not even worth trying to remodel it. So that is a $4.3 million project that we're very excited to begin and break ground on this fall. I left off the North County Annex renovation as a $9 million project. And then last but not least is a new medical examiner's office. It will increase the capacity and efficiency of the operation. I'm proud to tell you that that's not using your bond money. We were able to make that a FEMA project, and that's a $6 million project that will be funded by FEMA. With regard to transportation and investments and roads and bridges, Texas City and Lamarck, we have invested greatly here, and I'm particularly proud because it's in my precinct, Precinct 1. We've expanded Texas Avenue to 4 lanes with a turning lane, and we've woefully improved the drainage there. That was a $4.8 million project that is complete. Century Boulevard is in the design phase, 95% complete. That will go from 1764 to Highway 3, expanding the drainage there and making that a very nice parkway for instead of the old farm road that's currently there. And we have currently scheduled with Lamarck $4.4 million in roads that we'll be working with Mayor Bell on, and it's in the design phase as well. So we're happy with that as well. With regard to transportation and mobility, we have recently created the Gulf Coast Transit District to assume the duties of the Gulf Coast Center to run the Connect Transit services. I believe that was a brainchild of Mayor Doyle, and it was a very important service that we have been providing and that we will continue to provide through a different entity. You all have seen the new facility there where Texas City OEM is officing, and that's also the Connect Transit Services building. The Connect Services Transit services 2 areas, and you see it there. It's Brazoria County and Galveston County up to the north, almost to League City. It has a portion of it that provides service for any individual who needs it, a transportation from the North County to UTMB as well. It primarily services our seniors and those individuals with disabilities. And of course, I say the park and ride service that we have for UTMB. As to a Grand Parkway update, I'm proud to tell you, as you all know and have heard, they tried to cut the funding of the Grand Parkway, and Commissioner Clark was very instrumental, along with the county judge and Commissioner Giusti and myself and Commissioner Holmes, in fighting to keep that and as many of you, to go to Austin and to make sure that stayed on the funding list. We won that battle, and that we are still on the funding list. It's for Segment B, which is all important from 288 out near Pearland, all the way down to the east to tie into 96. Just on the east side of 96, where you go around into Bay Colony, that's where the parkway will tie in. And then we hope to take it from there on another segment over to Highway 146. But it is in the funding stage, and it is on the funding list, and I believe it will provide for huge growth to the west, to the west of 45 coming east as they build that. It will increase access to our county, it will provide for an evacuation route, and it will improve mobility. And last but not least is our legislative agenda. And you'll see what's at the top today would not even have been there when this was last rescheduled. But number one on our list is the power and electrical grid reliability. We received and were affected disproportionately right here in Galveston County. We had the highest rate of outage for the longest time than I say anywhere in the state. That's a problem. We recognize that's a problem. We felt it all as a problem 2 weeks ago, and we are committed to holding those accountable in this session to make sure it doesn't happen again. We're working with the United States Army Corps with regard to increasing the capacity of our ports and the port infrastructure. We believe that the ports are a huge economic driver to our county, and we want to make sure and keep that as it is. And we are working daily, always, for you to improve our roads and our bridges to make sure that we can improve mobility and transportation for you. We all know I-45 is part of the port infrastructure building, but it will be, and it's very painful for some of us most of the time, but when it's finished, it will be great for our ports and for us here in Galveston County. And of course, 146 the same. We hope and look forward to that being finished, and we know that will make huge improvements as well for our county. Jed Webb is our Governmental Affairs Director, and if you have any questions regarding legislative affairs or any voice that you want carried to Austin, you can see him, and he will certainly make sure that your voice is heard through our voice in Austin if you so choose. I want to thank again the Chamber for hosting this event. I want to thank each of you for being engaged with your Chamber, and because of all of you is why we are successful and make this Galveston County a great place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Rapfel. I'd like to call to the podium Tink Jackson, with the city manager from the city of Lamarck, to introduce our featured speaker, Mayor Bell.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure, as you guys have seen over the last few months, we've had a lot of significant changes around the city of Lamarck, and I'm going to talk to you about one of those changes right now. On January 2nd, 2021, following the resignation of former Mayor Bobby Hocking, and in accordance with the charter for the city of Lamarck, Mayor Pro Tem Keith Bell was duly sworn in as the mayor for the city of Lamarck. He began his public service career at the age of 21 in 1994 with the Galveston Fire Department. He was originally elected to the Lamarck City Council at the age of 31, making him one of the youngest candidates to ever win elective office in the city of Lamarck. As an elected city councilman, Mayor Bell served for 17 consecutive years representing District A in Lamarck. Those 17 consecutive years make him the longest serving council member in our city's history. During that time, he served as Mayor Pro Tem for 12 consecutive years, which also makes him the longest serving Mayor Pro Tem in our city's history. Over the span of his political career in our city, he has served with 4 mayors and 7 city managers. Mayor Bell and his family own several small businesses and have been residents of the city of Lamarck for over 25 years. So today it is my privilege to introduce to you one of our big changes, and for his first State of the City address, Lamarck Mayor Keith Bell.
Good afternoon. Certainly, Mr. Jackson and I went back and forth on that introduction. I wanted him to say that I would probably be the tallest person in the room today. Certainly, perhaps even the person with the longest hair. But we settled on experience because in Lamarck, experience matters. After this election cycle, the council in which I will serve with will have approximately 4 years and 5 months of experience. And so for us, experience really does matter. I'd like to thank the City of Texas City and Mayor Johnson for being hospitable today. And certainly we'd like to say that we admire the City of Texas City for all of their accomplishments, but primarily because they have been called the All-American City. And that says to me that this is a city with vision. And it's my understanding that any city, all cities, ought to have vision. They ought to have identity. They ought to know who they are. And in Lamarck, we intend to do just that, to show the world who we are. And certainly we thank those in the Lamarck delegation. If you're in the Lamarck delegation, would you quickly stand and be recognized? If you are here from Lamarck, would you quickly stand and be recognized? Let's give these folks a round of applause. Certainly I'm proud to have my son here today, and I'm proud because my son is a law enforcement officer, and I invited him today because I want all of us in Lamarck to know that we are grateful to our law enforcement community for the things that they have been able to accomplish, and we certainly support them wholeheartedly, and we look forward to working with them in the future. The next person that I'd like to acknowledge today is my campaign treasurer and an aide to me and a friend of mine, and that's Miss Tanger Smith. Tanger, wave at him if you would. And so we bring you greetings from the city of Lamarck, from the gateway to the Gulf. And we love that you have allowed us to share this time with you. And without further ado, to this chamber and to Commissioner Apfel, and certainly to Mayor Johnson and all of you that are members of this great body, I'm pleased to report to you that the state of our city, the city of Lamarck, is strong. Strong implies by definition that we have great power and resources and that we're moving rapidly in an effective and an efficient direction. Strong implies that we're not easily injured nor easily disturbed. Our city, Lamarck, is the embodiment of the term strong. We're strong at our core because we have focused and prioritized infrastructure not only in 2020, but we will continue to do that in 2021. In 2020, we've been able to invest $3.6 million in our wastewater treatment plant, our water and drainage and sewer improvements, and this equates to about 5,200 linear feet. In 2021, we have invested $5.9 million, and we'll continue to invest $5.9 million in current infrastructure projects, 1.4 of which will go to Mary and Melody Lane for significant drainage improvements. We are aggressively pursuing grant funding in 2021 that will equate to about $56.3 million, and even just this morning, we were awarded $7.5 million of those dollars to make needed repairs to our manhole systems, and so we have about $48 million to go. But rest assured, we'll be diligent in making sure that those dollars in our power would come to our citizens and to our city. We've also added in 2020 about $500,000 worth of new equipment to help our crews bolster and augment our infrastructure. And those investments in equipment have been tremendous, and they've been a tremendous asset to our city. You've heard Commissioner Apfel say earlier that the county has invested millions of dollars in roads, and we welcome that investment in 2021 in the city of Lamarck. Certainly, we thank the county for all of their efforts in working with us in this endeavor. We're strong in our code enforcement department as well. We have a 100% increase. The council has given the city manager and his staff a 100% increase in our code enforcement department. Now we have 4 code enforcement officers because it's a priority of our city and of our council to have a clean, safe, and organized city. We continue to move forward with our rental registration program because we understand and know that every person in our city deserves the right to live in a home that is safe, a home that is comfortable, and a home that is according to the latest building codes and standards. This increase in our code enforcement department will allow us to have the capabilities to open an average of 30 new cases per day. We're strong in our public safety. In our public safety this year, we were able to add 2 new fire trucks and have major investments in the recruitment and the retention of fire and police personnel. In Lamarck, we're strong also in growth. We are not the second largest city in this county. That goes to Texas City and Mayor Johnson, but we are the second fastest growing city in our county. In 2020, we issued 155 permits. In 2021, we've already issued 34 building permits. We are on a pace to issue over 200 building permits, and since about 2016, we have issued 907 permits to build new homes in our city. Lamarck is on the move, but not just in the residential aspects of our city, but in the economic development aspects of our city. We're strong as well. Just in January, thanks to Pastor Walter Hallam and his assistants, we were able to announce with Amazon that there will be a shipping facility that will be built in our city. That facility is expected to provide 400 to 550 jobs, a one-time impact economically of $76 million, an annual impact economically of $57 million. Lamarck is on the move. Certainly, 8 years running now, we have increased our sales tax by a whopping 80%. And for the 4th year in a row, the Economic Development Corporation, the driving engine behind our economic development, has been recognized with the excellence and recognition by the Texas Economic Development Council. And so we are proud of the work that Mr. Getty and the staff over at the Economic Development Corporation is doing for our city. Unlike all cities and like all communities across this country and across this world, we have certainly been hit by COVID-19. And the results of that have been tragic, not only in our city, but across this world. And there are many unforeseen consequences that have happened because of COVID-19, and many of them have happened to our citizens, and many have happened also to our businesses. But in Lamarck, we responded quickly because that's what strong cities do. We responded with $1.3 million worth of testing. In particular, we adopted a local nursing home to make sure that we tested them, to make sure that they were safe, and to make sure that we didn't allow this deadly virus to enter in any significant way into those that are weakest among us and those that are most precious among us in our community, our seniors. The council adopted a late waiver fee this past year so that we can allay the cost associated with paying our water bills late, because we understand that our entire city and our entire citizenry was in economic turmoil due to COVID-19. Our city has provided free masks, and we've modified city services to accommodate the members of our community to make sure that our city business, municipal business, is being handled, but also to make sure that we're doing everything possible to make sure that our community members are safe. Council even provided direction to Mr. Jackson and his staff to establish a COVID operations plan, plan based on scientific evidence, and a plan that will dictate how, when, and where we reopen our buildings to the public. And when the business community suffered from COVID-19, Lamarck was strong in its response as well. Working with the Economic Development Corporation, the council encouraged them, and they also responded by giving out $974,000 worth of grants to the small businesses of our community to make sure that they got through some of the hardest parts of this pandemic. Lamarck is strong in our response. We care for not only our citizens, but certainly we care for the local businesses that make us who we are. This helped stabilize our businesses, our business community, and helped stabilize our city. Unfortunately, COVID has continued to make an impact on our city. Just recently here in Winter Storm Uri, the brave men and women of the Lamarck Police Department had some issues with COVID-19, and many of them were infected with the COVID-19 virus as they protected the people of our city during this winter storm. And so our prayers are going out to all of those members of our police department, wherever they are, to their families and all of those associated with those brave men and women. We're wishing them well, and we're doing more than that. We're assisting them in any way that we can as a city. We're supporting them in any way we can as a community, and we're going to do whatever we can do, whatever is legally possible, to make sure that they have everything that they need so that they can move forward and return to work and return to doing what they love to do, serving the citizens of our community. Might I add in this moment briefly, we are overjoyed at the response of the community members during Winter Storm Uri. Many of our community members gave of their food, gave of their water, gave of their facilities, their properties to their neighbors to make sure that we wouldn't go through this winter storm alone. And so I want to applaud the citizens of Lamarck at this time for your valiant effort for caring for one another. In Lamarck, we understand and know that we move forward only when we move forward together. So let's give the citizens of Lamarck a round of applause for their response in Winter Storm Uri. And speaking of the virus, we need to understand and we need to speak a little bit about the virus of violence. And certainly our city has borne the brunt of the violence that this county and this community has witnessed. And our community has been plagued for many years with crime. And let me say this to you now, as the mayor of this city, I deem this to be unacceptable, intolerable, and we will continue to do everything within our power to make sure that this violence ends in our community, and we'll do everything in our power to make sure that violence ends all across this county. Whatever efforts there might be to end violence in all of our communities, you can count the city of Lamarck in. Because violence truly is like a virus, and it truly is like this COVID-19, because violence knows no borders. Violence affects us all. Violence destroys families. Violence is invisible until it infects us. Violence alters the way and the quality of life that we hold near and dear to our heart. And like this virus, our city's response has been and will continue to be multifaceted when we address issues of crime and violent crime in our community. For 10 days in January, a task force was assembled with the U.S. Marshal's Office and all sorts of law enforcement communities all across our county, and they moved on those violent actors in our community in Operation Washout. Operation Washout was executed for 10 days in January, and it resulted in 123 arrests. 44 of those arrests were gang members. 34 firearms were confiscated. 18.5 pounds of narcotics was confiscated, and 691 rounds of ammunition was taken off of the streets. And like the virus, we are now understanding that we need vaccines in order to combat the violence that we face in our community. And so with that, we have understood that it is incumbent upon us as a community to adopt a safe city initiative. We endeavor to be the safest city in Texas, and we will be the safest city in Texas in short order. What does that mean for us? Looking in the future, we understand that being the safest city in Texas has to have three components to it. The first component to it is that we have to have a professional, efficient, and responsive law enforcement community. That means that we recruit and we continue to recruit men and women who are dedicating their lives to public service, and are dedicating their lives to professionalism, and that are dedicating their lives to be excellent in their craft. That means that our police department will have to adopt community or readopt community policing. That means that our police department will have to adopt the idea that we have to become more aggressive in our community engagement. That means that we will have to train in different areas that we might not be accustomed to training in. But that also means that our police department has to have the ability to be healthy, because if you don't have a healthy police department, then you don't have the best police department that you possibly can have. And that means for the first time in our city, we've applied for a grant, and this grant will allow us to embed in our police shifts and in our fire shifts. We'll be able to embed mental health professionals that will help our police officers and our firefighters understand the trauma that's associated with doing their jobs, help them to debrief, help them to grow and to heal from those daily dealings that have caused them to have all sorts of difficulties on their jobs and in their homes. We want to make sure that our police department is a healthy police department. So we're going to go with a mental health component in hopes that we might be able to assist them in moving forward in doing their jobs. But it also means that we as a council have to step up to the plate. And so as a council, we have to invest intentionally in those areas of our law enforcement operations that will bring the most benefits. We have to invest in technology for our police department. We have to invest in newer facilities for our police department. We have to invest in the young people of our community as we identify and we recruit them into our law enforcement community. There are young people all over the city of Lamarck, Texas City, and all over this county that would love the opportunity to serve and give back to their county if they simply had a chance. And so the police department and the fire department both have established programs that we are intentionally recruiting young people from within our community to serve our community, whether or not they have the basic certifications to do so. We're looking for young men and women who want to be dedicated to our community, to serve our community with professionalism and excellence. We also, as a council, have to invest in technology that can assist our officers as they go about their daily business. And so we'll invest in cameras and camera systems. We'll invest in technology where we might be able to report crimes in a more efficient way. We'll invest in areas of our community that would uplift the young people of our community and stem the tide of violence that has so deeply plagued our community. And last but not least, thirdly, in order for the Safe City Initiative to work, we have to make sure as a community we are invested as well. There can be no resolution to the violence that plagues our community without our community stepping up to meet the moment. And so at this moment, we are reestablishing our neighborhood watch. At this moment, we are reestablishing our Crime Stoppers group. This moment, we are encouraging our neighbors and we're encouraging our community to become engaged and involved in the public life of our community, to see something, to say something, to be aware of your surroundings, and to make sure that you take care of your neighbor, because you are only as safe as your neighbor. You know, in 1962, I believe, President John Kennedy, made a speech at Rice University where he boldly declared that we would, as a country, walk on the moon before the decade was finished. Sadly, President Kennedy did not live to see the prophecy in which he spoke. But before the decade was out, even though many thought that he was crazy, before the decade was out, we walked on the moon. And some of us here might, when we say that we will be the safest city in Texas, some of us here might scoff, we might laugh, or we might be dismissive of that claim. But I want you to understand and know that whether this council sees it or another council sees it, this city, our city, the city of Lamarck, will be, I promise you, will be the safest city in Texas, because that's what our citizens deserve. We will be the safest city in Texas because that's what every human being ought to demand. We will be the safest city in Texas because we learned from our sister city, the city of Texas City, the all-American city, that image is everything. Identity is everything. And so as we move through these coming years, those of you that are in Texas City, and those of you that are members of this county, and even those of you that are members of this chamber, I want you to keep an eye on us in Lamarck, because we're growing, we're moving, we're stronger every day. And as we come together as a community and move forward together, Lamarck will be all that we are destined to be. I can promise you that. Whether I'm the mayor 10 years from now, or whether I'm going on to do something else or be somewhere else, I can promise you this: Lamarck will be the safest city in Texas. We certainly would like to thank you for your time. And let me say this, I want to stay to hear Mayor Johnson's remarks because I am interested in the happenings in Texas City. But I also want to say to you shortly thereafter, some of us in the Lamarck delegation will have to leave because we are funeralizing one of our former council members, board member, and a longtime city employee of the city of Lamarck, Mrs. Deanie Barrett. And so if you see us get up and leave, we are not being disrespectful. We are simply trying to move to the next phase of our service, honoring a woman who had given her life to our great city. And so as we close today, we'd like to say we pray that God would bless you, and we pray that God blesses the city of Lamarck.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We look forward to new and great things. Now I'd like to call to the podium John Branson. John is the Executive Director of Management Services at the City of Texas City, and he joined the city in November of 2020. Welcome, John. And he will introduce our next featured speaker, Mayor Johnson. John?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the mayor of Texas City. He is a 43-year resident of the city. He is a graduate of Texas City High School. He graduated in 1989. He went on to the University of Texas and received his bachelor's in journalism from University of Texas. He went for his first 15 years in his professional career. He worked for the Texas City Independent School District as an educator. While there, he was a coach, he was a club sponsor, and he was a mentor. He went back to school, or back to college, if you will, and he went to the College of the Mainland and received his Associates of Applied Science in Process Technology. Prior to being elected mayor this past November, he has served on the commission starting in the year 2000. He served under former mayors, the Honorable Carlos Garza and the Honorable Mayor Matt Doyle. He served for a total of 16 years, consecutive years, before leaving in 2016. He is the founder of the Dedrick Johnson Productions, a leadership and special projects consulting group. He is an award-winning member of the NAACP, serves on the Texas City Economic Development Corporation and the Houston Galveston Area Council of Governments Board of Directors. He is an associate member and minister at Greater St. Matthew's Church and works at Marathon Petroleum Company as a process operator. He is the proud father of 4 children, Dedrick Jr., Darian, Dion, and Donovan. Please welcome to the podium the Honorable Mayor of Texas City, Dedrick Johnson Sr.
Thank you, Mr. Branson, for that introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to thank this esteemed table of guests, Miss Georgia Barzilay, and to the president, our sitting president of the Texas City Lamarck Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Paige Michelle, in her absence. I know you're watching. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and stand before you. To Commissioner Affel, thank you very much for your information on all of the progress we have made as a county. And to Judge Mark Henry, in his absence, we appreciate all that you have done for your cities of this county. Following up this great speaker, Mayor Keith Bell, thank you for that passionate declaration of Lamarck being our sister city. I have to go ahead and assume that if Lamarck is that strong, then some of that strength has to rub off on us next door. Pastor Hallam, thank you so much for your invocation, and congratulations to you on 36 years with your ministry. I stand before you saying that right now is an awesome time to be a citizen and a business owner in the city of Texas City. I like to say it's a place so nice, they name it Texas twice. So standing here before you as your mayor, we just want to highlight a few of the things about the city of Texas City. The city of Texas City, thanks to this past year's census, will now go over 50,000 plus in our population. We're adding 4,500 new homes. We are the 4th largest port in Texas. The city of Texas City here on this Gulf Coast is made up of myself as mayor and a 6-member city commission. That 6-member city commission is, some of those members are present here today, and I would like them to stand if you're here from the commission. Thank you, Commissioner Keith Henry of District 1, and our Commissioner at Large, Mr. Yackley, and our Mayor Pro Tem, Ms. Thelma Bowie. The city of Texas City operates under a very robust budget statement. We'll talk about our property tax rate comparisons as well as our 4-year tax rate. The quality of life and community sustainability depend on strong financial management policies and controls to provide a fiscal stability needed for a growing city. The city of Texas City is in good standing based upon current and previous administration's actions and the diligence of this Texas City team. If you look at our property tax rate comparisons with those cities around us, we stand somewhat in the median. Texas City at 51 cents per $100 evaluation. Not the highest, not the lowest, but we still successfully manage our financial statuses based upon the quality of life we give our citizens. I would also like to point out that over the last 4 years in the city of Texas City, if we look at our comparison, our 4-year tax rate since 2017, we, the city of Texas City, have been on a steady decline over the last 4 years. In this year's tax rate, 2021 budget has us sitting right at the 51. And we do all of this while still providing our citizens with a great quality of life. Our economic development partnerships are very active in our 6th Street area. Our 6th Street area is a revitalization. The old downtown, as many citizens of Texas City would like to refer to it as, has seen much growth over the past few years, and we will see continued growth in 6th Street. I believe Ms. Meyer even exists in that area in Carrot Creations. Also, our Tanger Outlet Mall. Our Tanger Outlet Mall has been one of the significant retail traffic areas and remains the city's anchor along the I-45 corridor. And we have the Edifice area with HEB and Ross and those surrounding businesses. And then we're proud to brag about our Mainland City Center. Mainland City Center is our former mall, as you many may well know. It has undergone a pronounced redevelopment, and the city will be, the Mainland City Center, thanks to JMK5 Developments, will be adding 5 or 6 new restaurants and a family entertainment complex throughout. The city has undergone several capital improvements as well. The capital improvements, drainage improvements, street improvements, utility improvements. The Tarpey area boasts drainage capacity that was increased in the flood-prone areas. 29th Street, we've installed additional storm lines to speed drainage of the 29th Street area. We've offered street improvements, and you'll notice that Texas Avenue has had some new concrete pavement, and Texas Avenue has undergone a new drainage and sewage street improvements as well, and we're thankful for all of those improvements. Sanitary improvements and utility improvements. We're going to replace 17,000 feet of sanitary sewer piping and 13,000 feet of water lines. Our public works, we like to boast about our public works because we just moved into our new public works building. Many of you may look at it and see that it's familiar. It's the old Galveston Daily News building off of Emmett F. Lowry. Our public works building, as well as our engineering and planning departments, have relocated out there. We have housing developments that we'd like to discuss. Our housing developments, Huntington and Catalan luxury apartments, as well as the Lago Mar area. Our Huntington apartments are designed as a senior living facility. Our Catalan apartments, and then we have our Lago Mar, which is one of our newest and biggest developments on the west side of 45, master plan community. And we also have the huge Crystal Lagoon. That Crystal Lagoon is probably the largest in the state of Texas. And if you haven't had a chance to go out there, you definitely want to take your family and enjoy some family time out there. As the city continues to grow, we have developments like Marlow Lake and Pearl Brook Estates. Those developments are on Highway 3 in Texas City, and we have several other planned communities and subdivisions that are being developed. But just between these two developments alone, we have introduced over 900 new single-family homes to the city of Texas City in those two. The city of Texas City really is proud of our public safety department, which is inclusive of our Texas City Police Department, our Texas City Fire Department, our Code Enforcement Department, and our Emergency Operations Center, which we'll talk more about later on in this presentation. Our public safety aspect of our police department has 85 officers, and we've had that many officers for quite some time, but we're happy to announce that we recently approved the hiring of 6 additional officers, which may bring our police force up into 91 officers. Those police officers are already underway being hired and adding to the strength of our police force, and we're thankful to our police chief, Joe Stanton, for navigating us through those challenging times. Our fire department, we have 77 authorized positions. 5 of those are before you, with our fire chief and our assistant chief and our 3 battalion chiefs. Our fire department offers mutual aid to lots of surrounding cities, and we continue to assist our fire department with the things they need to be successful. Right now, we're undergoing the construction of a huge new fire training facility, which is located north 146 or west of Atwater. And this will also serve as one of the most state-of-the-art training facilities for the fire department and in surrounding fire departments to come and train mutually with us. So we're thankful that our citizens are being served by departments that are receiving the top-notch training. Our code enforcement department is very busy, as it would be in any city that tries to keep structures and neighborhoods clean and safe. Here we have just one of many pictures of our before and after efforts. Our code enforcement department is not only about cleaning up the city, but it's about ridding the city of junk and trash and high grass and unsafe structures that we don't want to be a part of this city. So we're thankful for our code enforcement department. We continue to revamp that so we can streamline the things that they're doing. Code enforcement department in Texas City is a part of our community development, our fire department, our police department, depending upon the violation. The city of Texas City is strong in education, and we're thankful for our partners at Texas City Independent School District, as well as the College of the Mainland. We have here Dr. Duarte. I believe she's in the audience today. Dr. Duarte, thank you very much. Y'all give Dr. Duarte a hand. She's relatively new here, but she has hit the ground running, and we're thankful that she is managing the growth of Texas City School District as well. We just witnessed Dr. Duarte and the Texas City Board of Trustees break ground on their new facility, Lamarck Middle School, which will be located near the College of the Mainland off of Monticello. And they're also underway with two more projects of Sims Elementary School and Guajardo Elementary being built as part of Texas City Independent School District. The College of the Mainland, you cannot drive down M&F Lowry and not notice the new growth and development that Dr. Warren Nichols and the College of the Mainland have been undergoing over there. The campus has practically at least doubled in size, and not only have they doubled in size, but they're also doubling in the curriculum that they're offering. College of the Mainland is a community college that is now expanding its educational base into offering four-year degree programs, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and there'll be a couple of other four-year degree programs offered as well. We're happy to be a part of our Economic Development Corporation assisting the College of the Mainland with the Opening Doors Promise Program. The Opening Doors Promise Program allows students from the Texas City area and anybody who lives in district to attend College of the Mainland tuition free. And that's amazing. And so we've already, thank you. That was in partnership with a $1 million grant from the Economic Development Corporation through administration that took place before me, but we're grateful to carry that on, and we've already received some thank yous and kudos from students who have benefited from that program. The quality of life in Texas City is something that we're very happy to continue to put forth with our Moore Memorial Public Library, our beautiful parks and recreation and tourism department, our park projects. And I'm happy to say that as a former employee, I used to work for the Moore Library when I was back 16 years old, about 100 years ago. But our Moore Memorial Public Library just went under a grand reopening in February about a year ago. And due to COVID, they had to shut down, and now they're coming back again. But we definitely have the best library in Texas, or at least on the north side of 1765. I think Miss Amy Miller has probably the best on the south side of 1765. How about that, 1765? Lamarck. So we're thankful for the current programs that we're doing. We're offering right now at our library 3 different types of programs. One is going to be the in-person, the story time. The second one is going to be the take-home crafts and literature kits. And then third, we're offering some virtual programs as well, in online gaming and control groups. Our Parks and Recreation Department is still robust and strong as ever, offering after-school programs located at Carver Park and at Sanders Center. As COVID continues to linger over us, we're opening slowly but surely in gradual numbers, so our children will still have a great place to go and be children and grow up and play. We have spring break camp coming up, summer camps, 8 one-week camping sessions. athletics and tennis programs located at the Lowry Center. And this year, we're also adding archery. That's right, archery to our recreation programs. If you go to the shooting range, the outdoor range, municipal range that we have, you may see a couple of lanes dedicated towards archery. Our park projects continue to be to take place in the city of Texas City. We just approved more funds to continue years-long efforts of renovating the many parks that we have that beautify our city. We just are underway to buy equipment for 7 parks, replacing the old equipment and bringing nice new equipment to 7 parks in our city, as well as redoing the ground for fall protection and mulch and things like that, making it safe for our kids. Our College of the Mainland Esplanades are undergoing a beautification project thanks to our Parks Department. Our Memorial Park and our Amburn Esplanades, these are just renditions because they haven't occurred yet, but they will occur very soon as we continue to plant greenery and bring beautification to the city of Texas City based on our parks efforts. Our Bayou Golf Course continues to be one of the most fun and better golf courses in the area. Our Doyle Center, where we are right now, I don't know if you noticed, but we have brand new carpet in this center as we continue to enhance all the facilities around here. We're very thankful for that. Our Lowry Center is where most of our athletics events takes place. If you haven't had an opportunity to go by our Texas City Museum, you definitely want to do that. And then once again at our shooting range, where we will be adding archery very soon. So you might see Cupid out there if you go. Emergency management. On our emergency management, we're going to talk about some testing stats, COVID-19 vaccinations, as well as Winter Storm Uri responses. Our emergency management operates out of the Emergency Operations Center, and that Emergency Operations Center is off of Magnolia Street. It's also in the same facility as the Connect Transit headquarters, and we operate out of there under the direction of Mr. Tom Munoz, who is our Director of Emergency Management, and we're very happy to be moving into that facility with him. Mitigation in our response, as of today, the City of Texas City has offered over 20 free testing opportunities. We've tested over 2,500 people. We've assisted nursing homes by offering PPE and free hand sanitizer distribution. The city has also worked hand in hand with Galveston County, with the Galveston County Health District, in providing testing sites, whether it be for testing COVID and whether it be for vaccination. So we do understand that public enemy number one in Galveston County, as well as the city of Texas City, continues to be COVID-19. And as we fight this vaccine, we want our citizens to know that you can stay abreast of the latest up-to-date information through our website. Vaccination information is inserted in our water bill. There may be some people who don't have access to social media or online instruction, so we've made opportunities to insert that in our water bill. We provided public service announcements through our local TV channel, through our social media. Every once in a while, you may see myself or some other city official giving an updated PSA about the vaccine. Winter Storm Uri did not discriminate. It hit us just as hard as it hit any other community in the city of Texas City. Our Texas City Police Department fielded 534 calls. Our Texas City Fire Department, 211 calls. We served over 250 meals to those who were in need. We provided over 3,200 man-hours, provided mobile warming buses for senior communities infected by the power outages of the mansions of Moses Lake. We assisted those at Seabreeze Nursing Facility, the Village at Morning Star. We took it to heart and wanted to protect our most vulnerable populations, and we did an absolute great job, our city and our response team. And so I want to thank those people who were serving as our neighbors, whether it be Salvation Army or Red Cross or our Public Works Department or Emergency Operations, all of those who volunteered. We really appreciate that. We appreciate Dr. Duarte opening up Blocker Middle School gymnasium in collaboration with us as a warming shelter, and that proved to be very helpful for those who needed it. Community Matters 2030. You may have seen or heard of this phrase in the last few weeks, but Community Matters 2030 is a collaborative effort It's somewhat akin to our vision statement. It was like goals 2,000 years ago, and then Vision 2020. But as we move forward, we have now embarked upon this initiative called Community Matters 2030. And Community Matters 2030 is an awesome collaborative effort that allows the citizens of Texas City to prioritize the matters that are of importance to our city government. Community Matters has somewhat of a double entendre, if you will. We've heard recently Black Lives Matter. We've heard Blue Lives Matter. We've heard All Lives Matter. But right here, we're concentrating on the fact that community matters. In the city of Texas City, if you notice, you cannot have community without the word unity. And so this double entendre of noun and verb, not only are we speaking of the community matters, the issues of focus, but we're letting us know, if it hasn't been more evident before, it certainly was more evident in the past couple of months, that community does matter. As we experienced a tornado touching down in Texas City, the community came together and we helped with our partnerships of various agencies relocate those tenants who needed a place to stay until their homes were back up to par. We fed those people, and we made sure that everybody came together, and that's why in Texas City we're strong about community matters. For those of you who would like to be involved in the city of Texas City, we want you to log on to our city website. This is an opportunity for everybody, no matter where you live, no matter where you work, to participate and have some type of input with the Community Matters platform. We currently have on our website, we currently have on our social media pages, and in person for you to pick up the Community Matters 2030 survey. This survey will allow you to answer questions and prioritize these issues of focus that myself and the city staff will be able to work on. And we've selected those leaders from across the city to join us in that endeavor. Our website is the City of Texas City. Follow us on the City of Texas City at the following: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. But our website is texascitytx.gov. And so we want you, that no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, whether you're a business owner, resident, we want you to feel like you have some input in Community Matters 2030. And so I want to thank everybody here for your time today. I want to thank, once again, the table, all of our businesses. As I look across the audience, I'm seeing some very familiar faces in our partnerships with the school districts of various businesses. And I just want to thank y'all for making Texas City a nice place, a great place to live, work, and play. Thank y'all.
Well, he took my line. I was going to say what an exciting time it is to live, work, and play in Texas City. Thank you to Commissioner Apfel, Mayor Bell, and Mayor Johnson for your time today and for bringing us all of these updates. Let's have another round of applause for our speakers. Thank you to Pastor Hallam. Thank you to the crew from KHEA, Clear Life Media, and I-45 Now for recording and streaming today's events for the citizens everywhere to enjoy. The Chamber's next business luncheon will be on April 27th when we present the state of the industry. But then our next big thing on the calendar is our annual membership banquet and awards gala on March 25th. And there's since no mask, and I think things are opening up, so this room will look a lot fuller that night, I hope. We'll be excited to announce our Business of the Year, our Citizen of the Year Award. KHEA and I-45 Now will again be partnering with us to record and stream the event for the whole community to enjoy. Watch your chamber emails for more details. We thank you for your time, your pleasure. We hope you enjoyed the food, and we're adjourned. Thank you so much. See you next time.